Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast, opening week edition. We have
Woo.
Sean and Harrison with us. I'm Nick. How we doing tonight, fellas?
Good to be back.
Yeah, good boys.
Oh my goodness, what a crazy weekend it's been. We'll hop right into it. But first, make sure you follow and like and subscribe on YouTube. You can listen on Spotify and Apple and wherever you get your podcasts. All right, let's just hop right into it. Opening weekend of baseball. It came. Thursday should have been a national holiday. It was for me. I took it off. I'm not gonna lie. I was not feeling well.
So much good baseball to see.
Oh my god! And all the games were great. And the talk was obviously the pitch clock. We'll get into that in a minute. Well, let's just start off with that. What is our overall feelings about how the pitch clock was implemented, and how did it look?
Well,
I like it. I go ahead, Harrison. You first.
No, I think we're probably going to say the same thing here. But I don't hate the pitch clock. I hate the concept of pitch clock, and I hate what it can mean when it doesn't work. Like I look at the situation like Pete Alonso not getting back to first in time, and Jeff McNeil getting a strike called against him. Like there's been some weird stuff to come out of it, but I haven't minded the flow of the game. The game flows a little better. There's a little bit less downtime, but what I will say is if you look away for a minute, you miss stuff because you don't get those long stretches of nothing anymore. The game moves along pretty good. So I will say that there were less infractions than I thought there would be. There's still some weirdness to it. I feel like players have largely adapted to it. So I still don't love the clock itself, but I've really enjoyed the flow of the games because it is picking up the pace and making for a more interesting game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, if you want to go high level, if you just look at the average time of games, that's way down. So the games certainly have flowed. And I certainly think in the announcers for every game you have watched, particularly like the national broadcasting games, like they've really been hammering home, like the run game has really picked up in the opening weekend. You got guys moving on the base paths. You got, pitchers are getting the ball, throwing the ball. And it's, when offenses are hot, it's contagious, right? Hitting is contagious. Like when the guy in front of you hits and you hit and the guy behind you hit, like it's a train that keeps moving. And pitchers don't really have much in the way of stopping that. Like they can't take a pitch and then take a minute in between pitches. So it's really kept the game going like that. I think largely the hitters so far have won the first few games when it comes to just overall league wide, but these pitchers will adjust. They'll figure out ways to keep hitters off balance and try to slow them down as best they can. And I do think they'll address the run game. I don't think we're going to see 75 stolen bases every weekend. like it was pretty nuts.
Yeah, 70 for 84 was the rate this weekend. 70 stolen bases and 84 attempts.
Yeah.
Well, there was one that there was Corbin Carroll went crazy last night against Syndergaard. He stole second, stole third on back-to-back pitches, and neither one drew a throw from the catcher.
Well, let's bring my buddy up then right now, Ryan Brazier. He had 4 uncontested stolen bases in that one inning.
Yep.
It was like, oh my God.
Well, and the runners are watching the clock too. And if Anthony Volpe may have been the best at exploiting it this weekend. He's seen that clock tick down. He's literally just getting a hopping start, and he's gone. I think he stole 2 bags. He stole second and third in the game yesterday, both uncontested. He was already halfway there before the pitch got out of the pitcher's hand because he just timed it. He knew the clock was ticking down. He 2 big hops and he was gone. And then the other piece of this that I saw him do too is he's actually trying to draw a throw early in the count because then he knows he's not coming back over.
Right.
So he did this on the steal the second. He drew a throw on the very first pitch by faking a steal. And then at that point, he had a crazy lead because he knew he couldn't come back over, and he took off and stole second uncontested. So they're going to have to address that because the running game is absolutely bananas right now because they're taking advantage of the clock and the fact that pitchers are limited. But it is definitely that leadoff walk we always laugh about has made that even more dangerous now because that guy may end up on second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no question. No question. And I think pitchers will adjust. The pitchers and catchers they'll have to. But I even think, I don't look at the Red Sox as a team who's going to lead the league in stolen bases as a team, right? But no. I do think it still helps the way because the way they want to play, it's just it's a lot of guys that are going to put the ball in play. So the more traffic you have on the bases, the more that you can make the pitcher worry less about the hitter and worry more about the running game and take the focus off the batter a little. Like, all it takes is one mistake, and when you have to make that pitcher worry about that consistently all game long, you're going to get more mistakes to hit. So I think it's been good, man. It's the games have certainly been fun, no doubt about that.
Yeah, the running has definitely added a new element that we haven't seen the last few years.
In a while.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it's back. I do agree to some extent that they do need to address it somehow. I mean, these guys shouldn't be allowed to get a 40-foot secondary lead and then just take 2 more steps and end up at second. Like that's a little unfair, I think. And I'm sure they'll find a way, like we kind of talked about. The pitchers will find a way. The catchers will find a way. We've seen a couple loopholes already where, like, Harrison mentioned before we came on, a pitcher stepped off at the last second and asked for a new ball.
Yeah, we had a reliever like 1 second on the clock, and he quickly steps off, panics, asking for a new ball, threw the ball to the dugout so the ump couldn't see it and got a new ball, and that didn't count as his step off because there was technically an equipment issue. So.
Yep, and then JT Realmuto the other day called time with 1 second left as the runner was taking off because he knew the pitcher wasn't going to get it off in time, so he called time. The runner doesn't get the stolen base. I mean, yeah, it counts as a mound visit, but yeah. So I mean, they're finding loopholes. I think it does need to be addressed somewhat. But I mean, it's been exciting to watch. You have seen more balls in play. And we kind of talked about that. The pitchers are getting gassed earlier, I think, right? Because I mean, they're forced to kind of get up there, throw, get up there, throw.
Yeah, they're working.
They don't have time to kind of recover between each pitch, which in the grand scheme of things, you wouldn't think would matter, but it does to get that rest. It's more of a sprint than it is a marathon for them.
Yep.
At this point. And Sean, like you said, Sean, they will adjust. They'll get there. They're pro athletes. But I think you're seeing pitchers running out of gas quicker because, they're made to throw.
It's an adjustment, man. I mean, these guys, I don't think it's going to take as long to adjust because especially the young pitchers that came up through the minors that has the pitch clock and they've had that for a few years, like they're a little more used to it. Yeah. But you look at guys that have been at the major league level for 3 or 4 years, like it's just an adjustment they're going to have to make, and they will. Yeah. They will. I mean, we're sitting on the 3rd day of April here, so it's but it's been good. I mean, and looking at the Sox here, the game going on now, Cutter Crawford doesn't have good stuff today, but he's gassed.
Yeah,
he's gassed, and he can't he has 20 seconds in between pitches.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it was like yesterday's game for the Sox. I can't remember the starter for the Orioles who threw like 32 pitches in the first inning. He was like huffing and puffing by the time that inning ended because there was no break for him. It was just go, 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 32 pitches. Yeah, those long innings absolutely drag on you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, absolutely.
Well, let's hop right into some of these individual opening series then. The Red Sox pitching very well opening weekend.
They might as well put a pitching machine out there.
I mean, goodness gracious. And then Doug, just to follow that up, Doug says, just checking in real quick. The Sox team is so volatile. I mean, yeah, we'll get to it. So, I mean, the Orioles opening day, Adley Rutschman goes 5 for 5. This kid's a stud. He's legit here to stay, and he's going to be so good. But the Red Sox have scored. Their offense, like we kind of said all along, the Red Sox offense put up 9+ runs in the first 3 games. I mean, they're going to hit, but we're also going to give up 15 runs a game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, they won the series, but it was ugly for sure.
Well, it is one of those things where they're going to be frustrating at times because it's going to be on both sides, offensively and defensively. Like, water's going to find its level. Like, you're not going to have a team that averages 9 runs a game. Like, it's not over the course of a season, that can't happen. But the pitching will also be a little bit better in the sense of, like, you can't give up 9 runs a game. Like the water's going to find its level. You're just hoping that one doesn't get too far. Are you kidding me? Another ball that was torched. Like, what is he doing? This is crazy.
That is out of control.
And so I just watched Ronald Acuna hit a 3-run home run after he swung and almost fell on his ass swinging at a curveball 2 feet off the plate. Next pitch he puts into the right center field seats for a 3-run bomb.
Dude, Pittsburgh looks like the New York Yankees right now. This is insane.
Oh, the sad part is against the Red Sox pitching. Everybody looks that way right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we talked about it Sale specifically before we came on, but there's just way too many pitches over the heart of the plate.
Yeah.
There's just too many misses, too many. And if you're going to miss, you can't miss there against a guy like Brian Reynolds. I mean, Brian Reynolds is a proven home run hitter.
Yep. You make a mistake to him, he will lose it.
Yeah. So, and these can't be in Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore is a talented team, but they hit a lot of home runs. And you can't miss where you were missing over the weekend. You can't miss today where you're missing. And, they're going to make you pay. So
between Jorge Mateo and Cedric Mullins, they're going to steal 200 bags.
Well, and don't forget about Cedric Mullins. He deposited a couple of home run balls over the weekend too. I mean, that guy can run, he can hit, he can throw, he can field. I mean, he can do it all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say about the Red Sox, honestly, like right now. Like they should have lost 2 out of 3. That drop fly ball against Yoshida, just like Doug said, we should have lost painful. 2 out of 3. And then Duvall hits that rocket barely over the wall to win it. I mean, it's awesome, but we had no business winning that game at all.
Well, but it
happens. It's baseball.
Yeah, no, but that's one of those things in baseball. Like that happens. I mean, you're
right.
Like, no, they definitely shouldn't have won because he should have caught that ball. But if Duvall gets up and doesn't put the ball over the monster, they lose.
Right. Then we're not talking about it.
You still got to go up there and do your job. The next guy's got to get up there and do what he has to do. And he did. So you give him a little bit of credit for that.
Yeah.
And over the course, you're going to do that. You're going to have games that you shouldn't have won and that you should have won and lose. And then the other way around, this is what the Sox are going to do. They're going to score a lot of runs. They're going to give up a lot of runs. And you just hope that at the end of the day, that in August, that they're on the wild card page, that they're fighting for a wild card spot and they're just playing meaningful games in August. I mean, that's what this team. That's what you hope for this team. They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to. But if the pitching does well enough in the bullpen, I mean, it's really the starters that have been terrible. The bullpen's been okay. The bullpen's been okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the bullpen kept him in that second game to even get to the chance to have that. To have that, because Sale basically imploded and the bullpen was lights out once they came in.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Who didn't you see? Yeah, he didn't even come in that game.
I'm not even sure who you might be talking about there, Nick. I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know how he still has a job. I know I've been on that train for 3 years, but that outing was one of the worst of the weekend.
But it's vintage. It's vintage Brazier. I mean, he either comes in and pumps a bunch of strikes in there and gets 3 guys in a row, or he gets lit up like a Christmas tree. There's no in between with that dude.
Every bullpen needs a rubber arm. You're not going to win 162 games. You need a guy that's going to go out there and just eat innings. I don't love it either, but the devil you know versus the devil you don't, I guess. And it's like, we know what we're going to get from him. Hopefully they just don't put him in leverage situations. Like, hopefully they have guys that prove themselves in the bullpen throughout the year, and Brazier's only in there when they're up big or down big.
Yep.
That's kind of my hope.
Yep.
So we'll see.
All right, we'll move on to another key series that I thought was going to be good right off the top, but it was kind of one-sided. It was the Rangers and Phillies. Phillies went down to Texas to open up, and the Rangers just mopped the floor with them. And
yes, but the Phillies, they got to DeGrom early.
I was just going to say that DeGrom did have a rough outing.
But he got run support. I mean, when was the last time DeGrom got run support, Sean?
Yeah.
Never.
That's new.
Yeah. That was crazy. And that Texas team can mash.
They're a lot like the Red Sox. They are gonna hit. They're gonna score. The question is, are they gonna pitch?
Yeah, I mean, I think their starting pitching's in better shape than the Red Sox. Obviously, their
starting pitching's in better shape in terms of the guys they have, but the guys they're leaning on you know, how many
Injury.
starts do you get out of
Yeah.
them? It's
Right.
It's
Right.
true.
yeah, it's
Right.
it's one of those. It's in better shape for now. You know, check again in a month or two.
Yeah. But I mean, Simeon looks like he's picked up where he left off
Oh, yeah.
at the end of last year. Corey Seager looks great. Adolis
like-
Garcia is disgusting.
Yeah.
They're going to be a fun team to watch.
And they were getting.
I think we lost your audio. But
You got me now.
yeah,
Yeah, we got you.
You're getting contributions up and down that lineup
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
the whole time.
absolutely. Dylan Cease's first outing. So I know we were talking about kind of the hitters winning the weekend. There were some pitching, individual pitching that came out and just absolutely dominated. Dylan Cease, 10 Ks, 2 hits, 1 run. He's Cy Young form. That guy looks disgusting.
Yeah, he's
He
all right.
does an ESPN bringing back the ump cam. Do it. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love the.
Right?
It goes like
Yeah.
anyone that thinks they can hit major league pitching, just watch the ump cam. It's impossible. It
Oh my
is
God, it's
absolutely
crazy.
Yeah. And the hitters make it look so easy, right? And I mean, it's crazy. What's the other? Jeffrey Springs from the Rays had 6 innings and no hit ball against, I mean, the Tigers, but it's still a pro lineup. He had,
Threw a
6
lot of
innings,
pitches though. Threw
Yeah.
a ton of pitches.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, he looked good. I thought Dustin May in LA in his first start looked awesome.
Mm.
Yep.
Against Arizona, that Arizona team is a sneaky team in the sense of like they're gonna send a lot of guys. Nice play. They're gonna send a lot of guys to the plate that put the ball in play, and he made them look pretty pedestrian.
Yep.
Yeah, and can we talk for a minute about that Jack Flaherty line from over the weekend?
I was
right?
just gonna get to him for sure.
What the hell?
Jack Flaherty, 7 walks, 1 hit batter, no hits in 5 innings on Saturday against the Blue Jays.
I mean, and he was funny after the game. He goes, everybody wants to talk about the no hits. He goes, but I pitched terribly. Like 7 walks. He goes, I can't give up 7 walks in a game. Like he goes, I can't give up 7 walks in a month.
And he didn't give up a run.
No, he hit
How
me.
did he not give up
He
a
is-
run?
He had runners on every friggin' time you looked up, but
He
nobody moved.
8 free passes and no one scored. Like that is unheard of.
Yeah, he's got a whip of 92, but an ERA of 0. Like I swear to God.
That is crazy. And then I also have in my notes, Ohtani strikes out 10, no earned runs, and lost. So here we go. Here we go again.
But as I mentioned to both you and I think it was Nick Fanning, we're talking about that on Facebook. What we're missing in all this is that the Oakland A's starter that night, I can't remember the kid's name, and the bullpen, they were really, really good. I mean, nobody else hit in that lineup either. Like nobody,
You're right.
there wasn't a hard hit ball the whole night.
Nope.
But unfortunately, that is, as tragic as the Angels are, you do have to tip your cap a little bit to the A's. And then, of course, Ohtani and Trout go back to back
For the
last
first
night,
time
and
this
they
year,
win.
yeah.
They win by a bunch. So,
Yep. The other series that I had a pretty close eye on was that Blue Jays Cardinals series. Every game was wild.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Opening day was insane.
10-9.
10-9, and it was like
Back
I
and
don't know.
forth, back and forth.
Yeah, it was like
Heavyweight
6-5
slugfest.
in the 7th, and then it was like 7-6. Then it was 8-7. Then it was like I was just like, what is going on? It was fun baseball to watch for
Yeah.
sure.
heavyweight slugfest. And to go back to that Angel series, they just handed down the suspension to
Rendon.
Anthony
Rendon for the altercation with the fan of a 5-game suspension. But I can't remember the last time I saw an MLB player go up and reach up into the seats like that and grab somebody who was giving him crap. That's kind of comes with the territory. His reaction was shocking to actually reach up and grab the fan, because I don't think we don't see that in baseball very often. You see in the NBA and the NFL, you'll see people get into it in the tunnel, but you just don't see that in baseball.
It
I'll
was
say this.
shortened to 4 games. It got reduced to 4.
Okay.
I'll say this. Big Cat says it all the time on Pardon My Take, and I couldn't agree with it more. Half joking, but kind of serious. Yes, it comes with the territory, but like these guys are people.
Oh
like
yeah.
if you're on the street and you're like just talking shit to a guy, like you're gonna get popped one. Like what makes you think that these guys are different? What? Because like they're off limits, and if they're off limits, then like keep your mouth shut. Like because you're doing this whole thing where you're trying to goad a guy into doing something that you know that he knows he can't do. It's like
It's a lose-lose for him.
you're just being an ass.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
So
but
like
it comes with the territory of being a professional athlete on
No,
that
I get
stage.
that.
But
get
yeah,
that,
I mean,
but
I get the point. At some
I would
point, you're
love
like,
to
okay,
see,
enough's enough.
I would love to see like every player gets like one free pass a year to like go at a fan.
I would love it.
Just once a year. So that was Rendon's free one. So now anything after this, he gets suspended. But like this was his free one to go after a fan.
Well, and I feel like if you're going to go after a fan, like at least like, don't just grab the guy by the shirt, but like I want to see like a fight break out. I want to see punches thrown.
Yeah, I mean that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Saturday night, Cleveland Guardians and the Mariners. I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, I want to stay up and watch this matchup. It was like a 9:00 start. It was over in 2 hours and 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I go,
I watched that whole
get up
game
and go to work the next day.
Yeah, I watched that. I watched
like,
the whole game. Literally, you blinked. You're in the 5th inning. You're like, what happened?
I was like, man, that is awesome. Like, maybe I can actually watch some full West Coast games this year. And I've watched a good handful of them already. I mean, yes, I've been off since Thursday watching baseball, but I mean, it was awesome to see a 2-hour baseball game. That was freaking insane. 2 hours and 3 minutes was the time it took for that game.
I will say this about, and just to circle back about games like that, like I do love it. I love a quick 2-hour, 10-minute game, like whatever. I would love to see over the next like 4 years, the league is going to look at feedback from players. They're going to look for, and maybe they'll make some adjustments to pitch clock and the timing and all that stuff. I would love to see them maybe like in the postseason or something like that say, you know what, we're doing the pitch clock, but 8th, 9th inning, pitch clock goes away. Because I would love to see like a big moment postseason game. Like, I don't want to lose the drama of 40 seconds in between a big at bat. You know what I mean? Like let the moment settle in. Like let it. Now, I'm not talking right now because like this is something that's going to take a little while for them to have to figure out. But I would love to see them maybe like hint in that direction, because I mean, to harken back to the WBC Ohtani Trout at bat, there was no pitch clock. I don't remember a single person being like, "Where's the pitch? Why is he taking so long?"
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that at bat, like that moment spoke for itself. Like you didn't need to rush through that. So that's my hope for down the road. But I would like to see something like that.
I just know when we go to the game in Baltimore, dude, I'm getting all the beers and all the food up front. Because if I get up mid game to go get food, I'm gonna come back and be like, what did I miss? Like, Nick, it's the 9th inning. Like I left in the second.
Boom.
Like
boom, game's over.
Yeah. So like
you go wait in the beer line at Fenway, you'll miss 3 innings.
Easy. I mean, it's just it's been cool to watch because it's so different. Right. So I mean, it's new, it's shiny. I wonder when the newness wears off, like how people are going to view it. Is it going to seem rushed after it's kind of settled in and people?
I think Sean nailed it. I think the newness, when you get in the playoffs, people are going to be like, this is stupid. Turn it off.
Yeah.
Because
I don't even know about the
excitement
stupid.
of those will be.
I just think there's going to be a certain part of you, like, when you spend your whole life watching baseball, you watch the year of baseball to get to the postseason. Postseason baseball is awesome.
Oh yeah,
like every at bat is amplified. Like your second at bat in the 4th inning is like, oh my god, this is huge.
Could you imagine a 2-hour and 3-minute game, World Series game? I mean, that would be weird.
No, not really.
It's so
no, I don't know. It's my hope for the future, not necessarily for this year, but kind of my hope, because I do like the idea of these games. Kind of, the games are moving, things are happening. You blink, you miss something big. Like I like that. I want to keep moving with that. I want to keep moving with stolen bases. I want to keep moving with runners constantly first to third and all that. But I don't know. Big moments. I still want the moment to matter.
Well, and here's from somebody who's watched a lot of baseball, I tend to have baseball on. I'm not necessarily watching every single pitch, but it's on. Like it's on in the background, or maybe I'm doing something. I'm kind of like listening along. It's a little bit harder to follow now if I'm not paying close attention to it, because things happen quicker.
Sure.
You're used to having a little bit of a lag in between things. Like I was watching this Cubs and Reds game, and 3 runs went up like bang, bang, bang. And you literally, I literally had the game on, and I'm putting something away. I come back and there's 2 runs on the board. I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, and I feel like you look away. A lot of us tend to kind of follow baseball. I don't necessarily watch every single pitch, but I follow along.
Mm-hmm.
When you follow, you there's quick hits here where stuff happens fast and you've missed it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, just that Cleveland Mariners series was just fun to watch across.
That was my
the board.
favorite of the weekend. I watched all 4 of those games. It was it was tremendous baseball. Those are 2 insanely good young teams.
Yeah, it's so good.
Sure are.
I mean, and Cleveland took 3 out of 4 from them, which I would not have predicted. But Julio had a great weekend.
That's not. I mean, that's Cleveland with all the hype Cleveland has. Seattle has that much more. The hype going into this year.
Sure.
To go into Seattle, out to the West Coast, they're not just season opener, but home opener at the same time. The crowd's going nuts. They got this young lineup that's supposed to, take another step forward and kind of put themselves in the thick of the AL West. And you just went and took 3 out of 4. Like that's really impressive. It's a really impressive job by Cleveland.
I would never have expected Cleveland to go in there and take 3 out of 4. If they could have split a 4-game series, I'd been like, that's a big win for Cleveland. To take 3 out of 4, that's a good start for them.
Yeah.
However, Teoscar Hernandez looks at home in Seattle, man. He's already making.
Oh yeah, he does.
He looks so good. Man.
And Julio was like 4 for 13 in the series with the home run. Like the kid just continues to hit. His defense is unreal. He moves around the field so effortlessly.
Yeah. Colton Wong's fit right into that lineup in the 2-hole. Like they're gonna be there in the end for sure. They're definitely gonna be.
I think so too.
For that spot.
Yeah. And class A when the Guardians have a lead, ain't nobody scoring on that guy.
That dude is.
Oh
dirty.
my goodness. Well, so in that 2 hour and 3 minute game, it was Savali was the starter. That guy just pumps the strike zone all night. Ground ball. And then Class A came in and shut it down. And back to the point about the pitch clock. Did you guys catch the White Sox Astros game where they had Bregman mic'd up?
Yeah, on ESPN.
Yeah, so they were asking Bregman about the pitch clock. And he said the one thing that's changed for the defense, he goes, I've got to be a lot more aware. He goes, because with the shortened time, he goes, I don't have the chance to get comfortable out here. He goes, I got to constantly be moving. He goes, so his take on it is you're going to see a lot more. You're going to see better defense, more of these plays, because players aren't going to kind of space out waiting for stuff to happen. They've got to be on their toes and going the whole time. So his take as a player was that you're going to see defense become a bigger part of the game because these guys aren't going to get, complacent because they got to keep moving because things happen so fast.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then a couple things today already. Bryce Terang for the Milwaukee Brewers, his home opener, takes a grand slam. First career home run is a grand slam. That's a crazy moment there.
Daniel Nava welcomes you to the group.
Yep. I mean, just absolutely nuts. And then the Giants hit 4 home runs in the first inning against the White Sox today, and then just hammered them. It was like 12-3, I think, the final score. But
Kopech got lit up.
Yeah.
Well, how about Trace Thompson's day yesterday?
I was gonna get to him too. Trace Thompson with 3 home runs, league leading. That was tough.
There you go.
League
words are hard.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at some of his stats over the last kind of season running, he's done some kind of crazy stuff at the plate.
Yeah.
Trace Thompson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some crazy numbers when you actually look back.
Did you see all 3 of his home runs were 107.5 exactly? They all.
I did not see that.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
All 3 had the same exit velo.
I love that.
So our 3 remaining unbeaten teams are Tampa, Texas, and Minnesota. So they took care of business. Which
Minnesota's up big right now on Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Minnesota had what? Kansas City to start? Is that who they were? Were they in KC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, case. Yeah.
And they got Miami now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it's a low bar to clear for Minnesota, but still.
So the Tigers, Phillies, and Royals are your winless ball clubs at the moment.
After watching the Tigers this weekend, I don't think that team's ever going to win a game. They are so bad. That team is so wretched.
I didn't watch a single pitch.
Oh, they can't catch, they can't throw, they can't hit, they can't pitch. Like it was painful to watch. I caught some of the games this weekend.
Double them up.
And
beautiful.
That team is so bad. That Tigers team is just so bad.
Crazy.
All right.
I mean, Aaron Judge in typical fashion too. He's already got 2 on the board.
Yeah.
I mean,
Stanton hit that 485 foot home.
He
run.
went far enough. It should have been 2.
Jesus.
my God,
Holy moly!
I mean, I'm pretty sure they showed a movie on that flight.
that was too
That
fast,
was a
man.
bomb.
And then let's get to Anthony Volpe, the new kid there. I mean, that kid.
Nice little debut.
Boy, he's disruptive. He is disruptive out there.
Yep. I mean, Yankees are going to be there, man. I mean,
dude,
that
was never a question. That was never a question. The question is always going to be, what are they going to do in October?
Yeah, what are they going to do once they get there?
That's the question.
Or they get 2 of their 3 starting pitchers back. Like, I mean, you throw Rodon in that rotation, man. I just my God, Severino.
Yeah,
comes
Yankees
back.
they're gonna win a lot of baseball games. They're a good team.
They're putting it to Philly tonight, 7-1 now. But again, you're doing what the Yankees do. They're going to score a pile of runs, and when that pitching staff's at full strength, they're not going to give many up either.
No,
probably not. Probably not. I mean, that team is built. It's a team that's built to win a World Series.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's now is, and this is, I guess, 31 minutes in. I guess it's late for me to bring it up, but is the manager going to get in the way? And if he doesn't,
it's a fair question though.
If he doesn't get in the way, I don't see the way the team is now, barring injuries and all that. I don't see who beats them. Maybe Houston beats them in a 7-game series to make it to the World Series. I think the American League is good. I think, or top heavy. I think the American League has some good top heavy teams. It's the Yankees to lose.
I agree. I think that when the Yankees are healthy, they might be the best team in all of baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, that pitching staff is so deep. That bullpen is still good. That offense can certainly hit. But their issue's always been, can they put all the pieces together in the playoffs? You had a guy like Volpe. You've gotten rid of you still have the same kind of group of sluggers that are going to do what they do. But, if Rizzo's healthy, if Stanton's healthy, if all these guys are healthy and these guys can pitch too, that offense can kind of take a breath of relief because they don't have to go out there and score 10 runs. Like, they only have to score 4, and they've got a shot. So it changes the dynamics completely to have that kind of pitching staff.
Yeah. I mean, the top 5 of their lineup now, right? The top 5, top 6, it brings you back to the 98 to 2004 Yankees, where it's just like, there's not only is there no breath in the first 6, it's like, you have to be concerned about each and every one of them taking a mistake and hitting it 500 feet.
Yeah.
And it just, you have to be on point. You can't miss over the middle of the plate. You can't get in 3-ball counts. You can't, there's so many things that the pitcher can't do against those guys. And if they do, you're going to be looking at a game where you're down 8-1 in what's the 5th inning or the 6th inning or whatever.
Which is exactly what's happened tonight.
Yeah. Yeah,
and they're already into the Philly bullpen. They're smacking the bullpen around. Trevino out of the 8-hole drives in a run. They walk. It's just, there's no break. There's no break. Then you turn back around to the top of the lineup and.
Yeah. Anything else from the opening weekend that caught your eye that we haven't touched on?
No, I mean, we were a bit all over the place here, but it was fun, man. I mean, it was nice to just watch fun, good baseball that matters. It matters to the players. I know it's 162 games. These players care early, like you can tell.
Yeah.
So it's just been fun to watch. It's been, I'm excited for just to keep going on it. I mean, it's going to be a lot of good baseball, I think.
I think if anything too, with the pitch clock being implemented, players have been even more invested than they have in the past. They want to get in, they want to get in this routine. They want to find, the nuances of this. They want to get comfortable. They want to get set. So we've seen a lot of focused at-bats, focused outings on the mound. It's just been really fun baseball to watch for sure. But
yeah, I can't remember an opening weekend that had better baseball. Good games all across the board. I will say I was a little bit surprised. The Padres and the Dodgers kind of drew an easy start with the Rockies and D-backs. They both split their 4-game series. that I think that West race is going to be a little bit closer than maybe we gave credit for. I think LA and San Diego are going to run this thing right to the end because San Diego's got that team is loaded. They've got their own set of holes. The Dodgers have their own set of holes, but that may actually be a pretty tight race all the way to the end.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
Yeah, the Rockies and Diamondbacks, as weird as it sounds, aren't as bad as they always look either. Like
True.
You watch them play, like they're solid teams. Like the Rockies have a solid lineup.
Yeah, and Corbin Carroll, for the
Diamondbacks are
record, is an absolute machine. That guy's a savage out there.
Yeah,
And
no,
then-
I think a team like Arizona, I think, is going to be like in the mix, and not necessarily in the mix of like. I certainly don't think they're going to win the division, and I they probably aren't really when it comes down to it in September. They're probably not going to be in the wild card hunt, so to speak. But I think they're a team that's going to give a lot of teams trouble with the way that they play.
Yep.
With the kind of they just have a few guys in their lineup that are just kind of like, that itch that you can't get to, and it's just like I don't want to play these guys again. Like we just played these guys, we barely snuck out a win last night. Like I don't want to play them again. So I think they'll be that kind of team. I just think roster talent wise, they're just probably not there yet. But yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna do some fun things. There'll be a team that's like, on a day where maybe a lot of people have the day off. A lot of teams have it's like, oh, let's check in on Arizona. Let's see how the Diamondbacks are doing because I Lovullo, we're going to get to it later on, but I'll give you guys Lovullo is my pick for NL Manager of the Year.
Yeah, I love Torey Lovullo.
I think he's going to do enough, and I think he's going to have that team playing really good baseball through the summer, and maybe not full on Baltimore Orioles like
Brandon Hyde,
like they did last year, where it's like, okay, we're in the playoff hunt, but I think they'll be close. It'll be that type of that. I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean the Giants too. The Giant, we always forget about the Giants out there. I mean, it's kind of weird because their schedule opens up with 3 AL teams.
Yeah.
They go to New York. They're in Chicago now, and then I think the Royals go to them.
It's weird.
They're like not even starting off with any NL opponent, so that's kind of cool. But
what I do think is cool, and I know we've been dragging this on. What I do think is cool, the balanced schedule is going to make this season really interesting to watch, to see all these matchups and all these different teams coming to town. And, the Giants starting with their first 9 or 10 games in the American League. Like, I think this balanced schedule is going to be really interesting this season.
Yeah. And they made it so next year, if the Giants are in Chicago goes to them next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I like that. All right, let's move on to our 5th inning, where we will do our season and award predictions. We'll kind of go through this segment real quick. Let's start off with our Cy Young pick. Who do we have for your Cy Young pick?
I'll go. I got Dustin May for the National League in LA. I love these 6'5", 6'6", a tall, lanky kid. He's got really, really good stuff. His thing last year, and it bled a little bit into his first start, although he looked really good the other night in his first start, but is just command. He'll walk guys. And if he gets into this rhythm, and again, with the inability to kind of take a walk around the mound and calm yourself down, if he gets into these rhythms where he just can't find the zone, he could get in trouble. But his stuff is really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think as long as he stays healthy, he'll win some games because it's a good lineup. It's a good team. They're going to score some runs. They're going to get him. I think he's going to pitch a lot with a lead. So I have him for the National League, and I go with him every year as long as he's healthy. I'll take DeGrom in the American League. I know he got touched up a little bit in his first start, but it wasn't. I watched most of that game. The concerning part for him was he just left a few too many pitches in the heart of the plate, and
he'll fix it.
I know the Phillies are 0-4, or after tonight they'll be 0-4. That's still a really good lineup. You can't leave that many pitches over the middle of the plate. So I think he'll clean that up relatively quickly. So he's my American League.
Okay. How about you, Harrison?
This is hard. There's so many people that I really think are going to have amazing seasons, but I'm going to start in the National League. I'm going to take Spencer Strider. I really, really like that kid. His stuff is lights out. That that Braves team is still going to be really good. I'm going to take Strider. I know that everybody wants to take Corbin Burns, and I think Corbin Burns is an absolute animal, but I really like what Strider does. So I'm going to take Strider. In the American League, I feel like when you look at your top 10, 15 pitchers, I feel like 12 of the 15 are in the National League. Like the American League does not have the same star power it had. You know, DeGrom, you got DeGrom in Texas, and I like the DeGrom pick that Sean has. I just, in the American League, nobody jumps out at me as a really, really compelling case. I'm going to take Dylan Cease because I think the guy deserves it. I think he got kind of hosed a little bit last year. I think the guy's lights out. I think Ohtani is probably in the conversation. As a pitcher, he continues to get better. His stuff is filthy. But I'm going to take Cease because I think you'll get a full quality season out of Cease, and that team will be interesting all the way to the end.
Agree. I have Sandy Alcantara to repeat back-to-back Cy Youngs.
Okay.
And then that Marlins lineup is actually pretty dang decent too. I mean, when they're on, they're going to be pretty good.
I mean, tonight's a bad night to say that because they're getting smoked, but
right. But Luis Arraez is a absolute hit machine.
Oh, he is.
Absolute hit machine.
That guy is constantly on base, constantly making contact.
But so I'm gonna take Ohtani for Cy Young and MVP. I'm taking him for both.
Cop out.
I mean, listen.
Let me just say this. You mentioned Miami. Let me just harken back real quick to the weekend series. It was 3 games. Jazz Chisholm needs a little bit of time in center. He struggled in center when it came to. Now, I love his confidence, and I love like the swag that he plays with and all that. And I think he'll be fine. But I loved as soon as the trade went down, and he's like, "Oh, just put me anywhere. Just tell me where I'm going to play, and I'll win a Gold Glove." Like, and I love that.
Yeah.
He did not look like a Gold Glove center fielder. I mean, he struggled with reading balls off the bat, which again, I mean, it's the more he does it, the better he'll get. But just something to maybe keep an eye on with Miami. How quickly do they leave him out there if he's continuing to cost them runs? Because it came back to bite him 2 or 3 times in the Mets series.
Yeah. Well, can I provide an unpopular opinion?
Mm-hmm.
That Hunter Renfroe catch was not a great catch. That was an amazing save of a big mistake. He took a terrible route at that ball. He got all turned around and he just threw his hand at it.
It was so crazy, though.
So as amazing as it was, he caught that. He took a terrible line at that ball and got himself all spun around like he was a little leaguer.
Dude, no look somehow ends up in the glove though. Like
he was in a blender on that ball. He had no idea where the hell to go.
No. So let's just go into MVP. I'll go. I got, like I said, a Shohei is my AL MVP, and I think Nolan Arenado wins his first MVP.
Amen.
The dude is due. I personally think he should have won last year, but
I don't disagree.
I get Machado had an outrageous season. Goldschmidt had an outrageous season.
Sorry, Texas Ranger guy just got hit in the face with a pitch.
Oh, that's not good.
All right, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's just, I don't know. Just, I feel.
For your money back.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I feel that Nolan Arenado, it's his year.
Oh yeah, fair. Harrison, go ahead.
Yeah. All right, so I'm not going to take the Shohei Ohtani route. I'm gonna go with my boy Vladdy. I feel like the Blue Jays are going to make a deep playoff run, and in order to do that, he has to have an MVP caliber season. I'm going to take my boy Vladdy again. I took him last year, and I thought he was the guy until about second half of August when he fell off the wagon. So I'm going to go Vladdy again. I love the Arenado pick, and so I'll give you that one. I'm going to take Juan Soto in the NL. I think he is playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's seeing all these San Diego Padres guys get signed long terms to these deals, like Cronenworth just got one. I think he's wondering where his is, and I think he's playing right now with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder to go get that next contract.
Fair.
I'm going to take the same guy in the American League I took last year, which is Rafi. I think Rafi is I mean, up until kind of around the same time, and even through August, like Rafi had a really good season last year. He just couldn't keep up. I mean, it was Judge. It was Judge's season. It was just, the longer he went on, it was like Judge is the only one that's going to win it. But I think Rafi's going to come back with just as good, if not of a better year. He got the money. He got the long-term deal. He's the centerpiece of this team for the foreseeable future. And I think Core is going to do a good job of just keeping him high up in that lineup and getting guys. He's going to get up with a ton of guys on, I think, throughout the season. Have plenty of opportunities to do damage. And then in the National League, I would love to go. I'm going to do it. Xander. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Xander. I think he's been awesome so far early on for San Diego. He's got his money. He's not like wants out. He's not wondering where his is.
Yep.
I think that's the team that's going to score a lot of runs. I think he's going to be in the middle of a lot of it. So I'll take Xander and Rafi.
He's off to a good start. And I will say in the American League, two people we need to keep an eye on too: Jose Ramirez and Mike Trout. Mike Trout
and Wander Franco. Wander Franco.
Mike Trout's on the redemption warpath. He wants to prove he can play a full season. And Jose Ramirez has been so underappreciated for so long.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. It was between Rafi and Wander Franco for me, and I went with the hometown guy. But Wander Franco
Wander's a good pick.
Oh,
he was my pick last year. Yeah,
yep.
He was my pick last year.
He's jumped up to a hell of a start this year, and he's the real deal.
He's so talented.
Yeah. All right, Rookie of the Year. Who you got?
Harrison, you go. I don't think you've gone first yet.
I feel like this one to me is a little bit. I think it's obvious who the two front runners are here, and I can't make a case against either one of them. In the AL, I feel like it's Gunnar Henderson. The guy is. I mean, we saw him a little bit this weekend. He is very talented. He's got a lot of upside. I feel like Gunnar Henderson is the guy in the American League. In the National League, after watching Corbin Carroll wreak havoc for the Dodgers, I don't know how it could be anybody but him. That guy is an absolute
he's my
freak.
pick. He's my National League pick too.
Jordan Walker in St. Louis.
Not a bad choice. Not a bad. He's off to a good start too.
Yeah. So I'm going to take him. I'm going to take Jordan Walker just to be different. I think you're right. I think Corbin Carroll.
He's a freak, man.
He runs away with it. Oh. But Jordan Walker's 20 years old, making and I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
My AL rookie is not Gunnar Henderson, though. I have Masataka Yoshida as my Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So
it is a good one. It's a interesting one because he's had how many years of professional baseball, but certainly
I struggle to think of him as a rookie, but yeah,
right.
He's a 28-year-old rookie with 7 years of professional experience, whatever he is, but still.
Right.
But I think Yoshida is going to be fun to watch too. He's that guy. We were talking in the text message over the weekend. I think he went over 5 on Saturday. He put the ball in play 4 to the 5 at bats, and he put the ball in play and made people make a play. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be a guy who rarely goes over 4 or over 5 because he's constantly putting the ball in play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Gunnar Henderson pick. American League. There's some interesting guys, but outside of Henderson, there's really nobody else that kind of jumps up. Like Volpe's an interesting pick. I don't know. Like, in order for Volpe to go out and snatch the American League Rookie of the Year, like he's going to have to be the talk of that offense. And if he's the talk of the offense, the Yankees are a problem. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he almost. And this is nothing against him, but I feel like he's just going to kind of get hidden in how good that team is. Like you're going to look up at the end of the year and be like, wow, Volpe had a pretty good year.
Yeah.
But I just I don't know if it's ever going to rise to Rookie of the Year, talk. Another guy, not Gunnar Henderson, but another guy I would like to see in Baltimore, Grayson Rodriguez, the pitcher.
Yes.
I just don't know. I know he's starting the year
AAA,
down in AAA. I don't know what the plan for him. I don't know if it's just maybe let's get him comfortable with the first couple starts, and then he's up here by the middle of April, and essentially has a full year. I'd love to see him. Supposedly his stuff is disgusting. So I'll go with Volpe. I don't love the pick, but just for the sake of being different and not picking Gunnar Henderson, I'll take Volpe. But I can't go for anyone. I can't not go with Corbin Carroll.
Yeah.
For the National League. I mean, I think that's probably a runaway.
Fair. All right. Manager of the year.
I got Bruce Bochy in the
Damn
American
it.
League, and I got Bruce Bochy in the American League, and I got Lavulo, like I said, in the National League.
All right. Well, I got Bruce Bochy in the American League because I think that Rangers team is going to be very fun to watch, and they're going to be in it right to the end if they don't make the playoffs. And in the NL, I got Bob Melvin. I've been talking about Bob Melvin for a while. We've been talking about Bob Melvin for a while, how much of a difference he'll make. I think they finally filled some of those holes in San Diego. That team is loaded. He is the right guy to steer all those egos and personalities to the promised land. I'm going to go with Melvin.
Yeah, I have Melvin in the NL too for everything you just said, mostly managing the egos that are on that team, right? I mean, like that alone deserves manager of the year. And the Padres are going to win a ton of ball games. I mean, that's just how it is. But I have John Schneider in the AL for the Blue Jays. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
good choice.
if we get to our division winners, which we'll get to now, that's why I chose him. So let's start with our division winners in the AL. Who do you got?
You go.
Okay. I got the Blue Jays in the East, the Twins in the Central, the Astros in the West. Those are my division winners.
I got the Astros in the West, the Twins in the Central, and I'm going to take the Yankees in the East only because I think once that team is healthy, they're going to be a steamroller. I really love the Blue Jays. I just think once that Yankees pitching staff is at full strength, they're just not going to be beatable for more than a game or two. Like there will be no 3-game losing streaks with that Yankees rotation. It won't happen.
No.
Yeah, I got the Yankees in the East. I got the Astros in the West, although I'm not sure. I don't think the West is going to be a landslide.
No.
I think Houston, it's going to be laugh out loud to say it, like took a step back in a sense, but
They did.
I don't think they win 110 games, right? Like I think they're in the mid 90s for wins, and I'm not so sure that for much of August into September, I don't think Seattle and Texas are that far behind them. And then I just think Houston does what Houston does, and they kind of pull away at the very end, and they win the thing by maybe 9 games, 8 games, 7 games, somewhere around there. But I think it's pretty close throughout the season. Like I think they're going to games in August, going these we have to win this. I don't know if I love anyone in the Central. Like I like the Twins. The Twins are really good. They're starting off hot. I mean, I guess the Twins. I like the White Sox. I think the White Sox are talented. They got, they got rid of Old Man La Russa finally. So I think that's only a plus.
And the story of Griffel is really good. I think there's a lot of people are rallying behind him.
Yeah, I mean, for the sake of being different, I'll go with Chicago in the Central.
I really love the Guardians. I just don't think they're ready to be. I think given what the Twins have done, I don't think they're quite there yet. But I think it's going to be a close one to the end.
Yeah. Who are your 3 wild card spots? I got Yankees, Rangers, and Mariners. So I got 3 teams coming out of the AL West.
And I got the Rangers, Mariners, and Blue Jays. So we have the same teams in, but I got the Blue. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, so I've got the Blue Jays, I've got the Mariners, and I'm going to go with the Rays. I think the Rangers fall just short.
Fair. All right, NL division. I got Mets, Cardinals, Padres across the board.
Yeah, I like the Cubs. I think the Cubs will be good. I don't know if they'll win the division. I think the Cubs will be good. I think the Brewers will be right there. I'm going to go with the Cardinals too, but I think that's going to be a dogfight of a division. And I'll go with the Dodgers winning the division.
Okay. I'm going Braves, Cardinals, Padres.
Good. Wild card spots. I have one from each division. So I got Braves, Brewers, Dodgers. So I have it.
Yeah, I got Braves, Brewers, Padres.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I've got Mets, Mets, Brewers, Dodgers. So
Right.
I think we all had the same 6 teams in both. No, except actually American League I'm different because I got the Rays.
Yeah.
We got the same 6 National League teams.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So what's your World Series? We'll get to our World Series matchup because that was our question of the week. So
Oh yeah.
we'll move on to our next one. This is our last position poll question. Who are your best all-time right fielders and the best current right fielders as of right now? Who do you guys got as your best 3 all-time?
Want me to kick it off, Sean?
Yeah, please.
All right, I'll kick it off. All right. So all time, I got Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and Tony Gwynn are my 3 all-time right fielders.
Pretty good.
And current right fielders, I've got Aaron Judge, Mookie Betts, and Kyle Tucker.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nick.
I lost it. Where did it go? I got Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Vlad Guerrero for my all-time. Just Clemente and Guerrero for their absolute cannons that they have out there.
Oh my goodness.
And then Hank Aaron, obviously, because it's Hank Aaron. Then my current 3 are Kyle Tucker, Mookie Betts, and Bryce Harper.
Harper's good. Yeah, Harper's. It'll be interesting to see what he does with that. Independent too. How interesting. Like how far back, if you want. I know it's so early, but like how far back does Philly fall? Like, do they rush him? Do they say, hey, like we need the bat in the lineup, or is it just like, hey, like we're struggling, we need some pop? Like it'll be interesting. Like he's supposed to be what, June, right, or July, early July.
The reports are saying that he's ready to swing at full speed. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he's
But
traveling with the
they're
team and taking BP.
They're worried about him sliding into a base, like when he's on base. He can swing full power. He's fine with the swing as long as he doesn't throw. He can swing full power, but they're worried about him sliding like head first, or even going down on your butt and putting your hand down behind to brace your body. Like that's what they're more worried about than the actual swinging motion. So I don't know. It's a fair question, Sean. If you're the Phillies and you feel the season slipping away, do you rush your star back? At some point, someone's going to have to make that decision for sure.
Right. And I'm not saying like do it next week. Jesus, the season is so far from being running away from you. But I'm just thinking like if we get to the end of April, but by everything it sounds like, he'll be in the lineup by the end of April. If he's traveling with the team, taking BP with them now.
Yeah, they're saying, they said, I think it was like mid-May was what their target date was.
Just for him hitting.
Yeah.
For him being in the lineup.
Yeah,
in the lineup. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he will not be cleared to play the outfield probably till the second half of the season, but kind of like when Ohtani came back, he'll be able to DH for a period of time before he's cleared to play the field.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, top right fielders. I'll go a little bit different for the sake of being a little bit different. I'll go Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson was a hell of an outfielder. Frank Robinson, and then I'll go with Ichiro. Ichiro was an awesome right fielder. I don't know if did you ever hear of Ichiro? The guy got a few hits.
I don't know.
He played for that team in the Pacific Northwest that isn't any good, I think, right?
Yeah.
Right, Nick?
Well, at the time they weren't.
It's tough to go different from the ones you guys had for current. Judge was the best right fielder in baseball, right? I know he's playing center tonight and all that, but Judge is a right fielder. He's won Gold Gloves in right field. He's a right fielder. Yep. Kyle Tucker is arguably even still kind of one of the more underrated players in baseball. Like people just don't talk about Kyle Tucker. Mookie Betts, MVP. It's hard to go with other guys. Juan Soto, too. He plays a lot of left, plays a lot of right. Like, I don't know.
Right now.
What's that? Acuna's in right. That's right. Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Right field's always loaded, right?
Yeah.
Even growing up watching these guys, like right field was always loaded. But yeah. that was a fun segment to do, and it kind of ended the last week of the first week of the season. So that was kind of sums up our off season there, and yeah, that was just fun. So thanks to we do have viewers takes. My bad. Hold up, getting there. Here we go. They're right fielders. Jim Britt said Reggie Jackson, Ichiro, Vlad Guerrero.
Good
and then
choices.
his three current are George Springer, Ronald Acuna, and Mookie. And then Chris McVetti, I went to college with him. He goes, 8-year-old me would have said David Justice from the Braves. So I mean that was a really cool one.
David Justice.
And then Brian Sawyer commented and said Gwynn Clemente and Daryl Strawberry were his three.
Okay. Strawberry, yeah.
Yep. So, yeah. All right. We are going to move on to our rounding third question, which was, what is going to be the World Series matchup? We'll start with our viewers' submissions. Jim Britt says Padres against the Guardians is his matchup.
Ooh.
Yep. That'd be a good one.
I like it.
Morgan says Astros over the Cardinals. So he's going against his Cubbies, picking the Redbirds. So Astros over the Cardinals. Henry LaRose said Mets against Astros. That would also be a great series. My father-in-law weighs in. He says Sox in 6. And then Nick Fanning said Braves against the Astros is his gut choice. But his fun answer is Mariners against the Cardinals, that would be a pretty fun series to watch for sure.
I'd love to see the Mariners get that far.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your picks for the World Series? Let's get to it. What are your World Series picks?
Mets, Yankees.
Oh, Subway Series.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, I all joking aside about the Yankees and Boone and all that, like, I've made no bones about the fact that I think Boone's their biggest obstacle.
Totally.
I still don't know if it's a big enough obstacle. That team is so damn good. They're just so damn good. I'll take them coming out of the American League. And I mean, losing Diaz is a big blow. But I mean, the Mets went out. I mean, you lose DeGrom, you replace him with Verlander. I mean, to me, if anything, it's a step up. I should say, if not a step up, if anything, it's a step sideways. But it could end up being a step up, depending on, I know he's hurt right now, which is not a great sign. But, I think the Mets have a great manager in Buck.
Yeah.
I think Buck showed it last year where it was a lineup that had some holes and was still able to win 101 games. Faltered in the postseason, but that was more the pitching than the hitting that faltered in the postseason against San Diego. But, yeah, I'll go Mets, Yankees.
So Gunnar Henderson, home run opposite field as I'm sitting here. I think was tagged. Holy smoke. I'm going to go Astros Padres. I'm going to go with the Astros till somebody knocks them off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get Altuve back here later in the season. They'll be at full strength for the playoffs. I like Framber Valdez, the top of that rotation in a playoff series. I'm going to go Astros Padres.
I have Astros Padres as well.
Who do you have winning?
The Red Sox. No. I hate to say this, but I think it's Houston again.
I'm with you. I think Houston repeats.
It's just everything you just said with like the rotation, and they have the playoff experience.
Their bullpen is lights out. They've added Abreu. They'll get Altuve back.
Yeah,
I feel like they're the champion until somebody can prove me wrong.
I agree. So yeah, Astros over Padres. All right, so keep your eye out. Next week we'll throw out another question out on the Facebook page, and we will start heading home here. A lot of kind of news to wrap up for this week. So kind of cool. Players that are making their Major League debut will wear a patch that says Major League Debut. After that game, the patch gets taken off their jersey and put into a Topps baseball card pack they call it the ultimate rookie card. Thought it was kind
That's
of
cool.
cool.
Yeah, pretty neat.
And it's 1 out of 1, right? I mean,
Right.
like no one else is going to have this card with that patch on it. So thought that was kind of cool. Sergio Romo for the Giants retires. And I'm bringing him up because of the thing he did in spring training this year. Every kid that went and asked for his autograph, he handed his hat over and the kids got to sign it. If you guys haven't seen this story, it's really cool. All the kids like inside the hat, on the brim, everywhere is all autographed by all the kids that asked him for his autograph. So I just thought that was a pretty class act and what baseball should be about. Like I love the stories like that when pros are giving back to the community for something so small, right? And it takes no effort to do that. So
Yeah,
pretty cool.
for sure.
All right. Andres Jimenez, 7 years, $105 million extension. Great for the Guardians. Jimenez is the real deal. This kid's good. He went nuts in Seattle.
I love seeing Cleveland extend some of these players. Jose Ramirez, now Jimenez, for longer term deals to keep him around.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had a great weekend in Seattle. He had a home run or two. Just slaps the ball everywhere. Great defensively. Great move. Also, Liam Hendriks released a video today saying he's going through his last round of chemo and could be back as soon as June.
That's crazy.
Which, I mean, that is awesome to hear. Like, so glad
good for him.
Right? It's so awesome. Can't. Minor leagues to have their first CBA finally. I mean, we knew it was kind of coming down the pipe here, and it finally happened. So the minor leaguers will have their own CBA.
Good for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're getting a pretty substantial pay raise from what I saw.
Well, I mean, as they should, right?
Those guys don't make jack.
No. And God, the travel when they have to ride to, like they don't get the airfare. It's 13-hour bus ride.
It's a sticky bus ride.
Yep. Absolutely. The San Francisco Giants have started a different left fielder for 17 consecutive seasons now. So since Barry Bonds left,
crazy.
The Giants have had a different starting left fielder on opening day for 17 straight years. It's just a crazy streak. So that was pretty cool. They actually today I was watching the broadcast and they had the list of like all the left fielders that had started, and it was quite the range of people that have been out there. So it was pretty cool. And then sticking with the Giants, Gary Sanchez signed a minor league deal with San Fran. So I'm sure at some point he'll be up with that club hitting for them. Back to extension, Jake Cronenworth for the Dodgers. He signed a 7-year extension. Somehow the Padres are coming up with all this money.
I'm not sure where it's coming from.
But they signed Cronenworth. And what did we say? 7 for 80, although it's not really disclosed.
Yeah, some places are saying 7 for 80, some are saying 7 for 85. So he's somewhere in that $12-ish million a year range.
Yeah, makes sense. And then the last thing I have is the Atlanta Braves are announced today that they are retiring Andrew Jones, number 25, on September 9th of this year. I thought it's about time. I still personally think that Andrew Jones is a Hall of Famer. I know we've looked at it a ton of times with his average is not really there, but he's got 400 plus homers. He has 10 gold gloves. I mean, defense alone, he could be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the fact that he's not and Harold Baines is, I think, is an absolute travesty. But that's just my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of borderline guys in there, and Andrew Jones definitely belongs as far as I'm concerned. But
yeah, no, I agree.
That's just me. That's all I had. What do you guys have anything else to add?
I got one thing to add here real quick. So they Forbes released the the highest paid players in baseball. And this year, for the first time, Shohei Ohtani slid into the top spot He's going to make a total of $65 million in 2023, $30 million from his contract, $35 million from endorsements.
New Balance.
Behind him in second is Max Scherzer at $59.3 million. In third is Aaron Judge at $44.5 million. And then you got Verlander at 43 and Trout at 40 are the top five. But this is the 10 highest paid players in baseball are going to make a total of $436 million this year, which is actually a record for MLB players. So, we laugh that where are all the endorsements at, and some of these guys have them. I've never seen Mike Trout on a commercial that was worth noting, but apparently he's getting paid by somebody.
Well, they get paid to wear their cleats or wear their elbow guards.
Well, and a lot of Ohtani's endorsements are actually overseas. That's the difference. He's making a lot of money overseas on endorsements back in Japan, which is why we won't necessarily see him and stuff, but he's being seen in his home country.
Well, and
so who'd you say? You said Trout was fifth. Sorry, right?
Yeah, Trout is fifth at about $40 million.
So two of the top five,
correct, are Angels
playing for a team that's going to lose 100 games.
Yes,
that is correct.
Yeah.
Yep. But
and then the other three guys are in New York. Big surprise.
Right. Well, Scherzer's getting paid by New York and Washington still, right? I think that's where his it's like 43 from the Mets, and then his what is it called? Prolonged.
His deferred compensation. So he's making like 40. He's making 43 at the Mets. He's making another 6 or 7 from the Nationals, I believe, and then on top of that, he's got another like 10 in endorsements. So, Aaron Judge, it's $40 million in salary and $5 million in endorsements. Verlander is pretty much all salary with a little bit of endorsements, and Trout is pretty much all salary, a little bit of endorsement.
Yep.
Pretty good gig if you can get it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, these guys are making pretty good money. Most of it's salary. The only guy making big endorsement money right now is Ohtani, and it's coming from overseas.
Well, and he signed a huge deal with New Balance, I'm pretty sure here.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's definitely where it's coming from.
So,
all right. Anything else, fellas?
Nope. Sox got to stop leaving guys on base.
Yeah. This one's far from over, but
it's been an awesome first week.
For sure.
It's been an awesome first week.
Yeah, it's been a great first week. Been great.
Yeah, this weekend was just absolutely incredible. I was geeking out the whole time. I don't think I've smiled so big in my life, like except for right after the lockout. But I mean, this weekend was just fun overall to watch, like the pitch clock, the new rules, people running all over the map. It was just a different kind of baseball to watch, and I'm here for it for sure.
I haven't seen anything about the ratings. Do they publish anything around the ratings? I'm curious if they're seeing more viewers or not.
Oh, I haven't seen either. I would imagine that they're probably up a little bit just because we just had the WBC. We do have the rule changes. Everybody is going to tune in to at least like look at it. So I would say the ratings are probably up there.
I would think if they were up a lot, they'd be shoving it down our throats, though. So it's probably not up a lot.
That's a fair point,
or else
too.
Would be seeing it everywhere.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, what I'm seeing right now is that the ratings for opening day were basically flat in most markets. So it looks like
what they expected.
Yeah, so not necessarily not necessarily a lot of more measurable viewers, but you haven't lost anybody, and maybe as people hear more about the games being faster and the quality of the baseball, maybe they'll come back. But yeah, it looks like for the most part across the board, ratings are flat.
Nice.
Got to start somewhere.
Right.
Exactly.
All right. So we don't have anything else. Just make sure you like, subscribe. You can share our podcast. You can chime into our post. Like I said, listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, or wherever you get your podcast. You will see our show. Just look at Rounding Third Baseball Podcast, and we will be on there. So we will be on next Monday at 8 p.m., and we will see you all then.